lost some of his memory, but he's just glad to be back home.
Coming up, what he's doing now to get his life back on track.
You're watching Fox 17 News on air and streaming until 7 p.m.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm Doug Reardon.
And I'm Annie Satowski. After 65 days in 3 different hospitals, a man in Michigan is getting his normal life back.
Finally, he's been battling West Nile virus, most recently through rehab at Mary Free Bed. Our Julie Dunmeyer shares his story.
Took my dad to Arizona, and I'm pretty sure I got bit by a mosquito out there.
You'll have to forgive Gary Shepard's video quality.
Came home, and the intubation rate on West Nile is about 2 weeks, similar to COVID, actually.
But we'd rather have his choppy video at home on his farm in Onaway, Michigan, any day than the crystal clear images of what Gary's been through the last few months.
It just, like in 3 days, it went right to pieces, and then they had to take me out of the house here in an ambulance.
Gary got sick from the West Nile virus in November. The virus gave him encephalitis, severe swelling of the brain.
I don't really remember much of anything until December 22nd.
2 months of memories gone. Gary's daughters kept track.
Thankfully, he doesn't remember it. And that was another thing that we had talked about. I kept a journal for him.
Following his hospitalization, it was off to Mary Free Bed for rehab.
And the therapists there were just flat out amazing. And they don't give you no breaks, man. You see at least 4 therapists a day, sometimes as many as 6, and they'll give you all you can handle.
One of the many reasons he says he recovered, but it definitely wasn't easy. Gary remembering a conversation he had with a psychologist.
She says, well, what do you think? And I looked at her and I said, if you just put a couple pills on a nightstand there and say you can take these and it'll all be over with, I'd take them. And she goes, no, Gary, you don't know how far you've come.
Gary was worried, as anyone would be, that life would never get back to normal.
We tell him still that maybe he needs to slow down, even though that's not what he wants to do. Because we know how far he's come, we know what that looks like, and
that he'd have to give up what he loves about his way of life, making maple syrup on his small farm. But after a stint in outpatient rehab, Gary finally returned home in February.
I just left the farm, it seemed like, but it's been 2 months. I missed Thanksgiving, I missed the deer season, I missed everything. And you're telling me Christmas is, a couple days away, and I was like, how did this happen? How did I get here?
He's lost a lot of time, but now he's making up for it, doing what he loves.
I saw my neurologist, Dr. Yablin from Mary Free Bed, on a week ago Monday, and he graduated me. He says, you've made as much of a recovery, as close as full recovery as we can imagine.
Julie Dunmeyer, Fox 17 News.
And we, of course, are happy to see him back at home.
Yeah.
Initially, doctors thought that Gary would have to have 24/7 care for at least 6 months after leaving Mary Free Bed.
And that is certainly scary, but he says thanks to the doctors there and lots of hard work, he's now able to live with minimal support, which is his goal. Well, several